Today ain't your day, pancakes!
Karma's a man's best friend, isn't that right, Tom Watts? Hello there, and welcome to episode 8 of Train Sim News, and you may have noticed something different already. I got a new microphone! Oh yeah! I'm absolutely loving this new microphone. It works so much better than my original one because it's a USB plug-in microphone. I don't have to wear a headset. And the headset was really uncomfortable. I'll show you some pictures of it in the screen right now. It's a Blue Yeti condenser microphone, and for doing casting like I'm doing now, a Blue Yeti or any kind of condenser microphone is an absolute must. I highly recommend you get this microphone. I'll link it in the description if you want to go and get one yourself. My one cost 120 quid from Maplin down the road in my local town. But if you haggle, you might be able to find one cheaper, or not, I'm not too sure. Alongside the fact that this new microphone makes my voice sound clearer, the best thing about it is the fact that I don't actually have to use any form of EQ or audio restoration, because in my previous episodes, I'd have to use some sort of EQ to stabilize the audio, to make sure that you can hear any hums, or backgrounds, or hisses from the fan. It was getting really annoying and it made my voice sound unnatural. But here, it's crystal clear, I don't have to use any EQ at all. In fact, I don't even have to change the volume on the track. It's amazing, I love it. So before we go into our main topics of today, I need to give a brief update about the West Coast Main Line Trent Valley thing. They did a live stream of it, and I managed to listen to what the sounds are like, and my god, that's awful. The 350 sounds awful. I'm not mistaken, it's exactly the same sounds as the original 2010 Desiro. You know, the one that was for Portsmouth Direct. That's disgusting. Why would you reuse sounds from 5 years ago? That's disgusting. I still haven't received a reply from Thompson yet, but to be honest, it's only been a few days since I've sent the email, so I'm not exactly expecting a response instantaneously, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll probably receive one later on in the week, I don't know. So the first bit of news that we're going to chat about today is related to Dovetail Games. Oh dear. For those of you who don't know, Dovetail Games is a company that creates Train Simulator 2015, and you can purchase it from them via Steam. They also got the rights to the FSX license, so that's brilliant, isn't that? Well, that being said, they did at least fix the game slightly, from what I remember. So what exactly related to Dovetail Games would I be talking about today? Well, they've been hyping up the newest installment in the Train Simulator series, Train Simulator 2016, which will be exactly the same as 2015. We all joke about Call of Duty and the fact that every single game is the same every single year, but Train Simulator takes that to a whole new level. You have to kind of see it to believe it. Now, obviously, with the announcement of a new quote-unquote game, there have been a lot of misconceptions, rumours and conspiracy theories flying around the entire community from left to right about what will Train Simulator include, or what features they'll get rid of because it's too confusing for new players. As a response to this, Dovetail have decided to write up a page-long response on their little auxiliary website, or forum website if you prefer, called Engine Driver, and dear lord, this... oh god. Oh great, we're gonna have a lot of fun replying to this. I'll link the main page for Engine Driver as well as this article in the description below this video. I'll also be using text-to-speech again because it's better to hear two voices than just my voice doing impressions, even though I have a good mic. I'd rather just use text-to-speech to read out the Dovetail sections, if that's okay with you. Well, let's jump into the video.
1. I have no choice but to buy TS2016. We would love you to buy every version of Train Simulator.
You know what? Why would you want us to buy the same game over and over and over again? What benefit is it to the consumer to do that?
However, as always, there's no obligation for you to buy TS2016, but you'll be missing out on some really great content and features.
To be completely honest, I don't think I'm going to be missing out some great content unless I actually know what the content and features are. Because for all you know, they could be just the ability to turn up the volume.
2. DTG doesn't care about what we want. This couldn't be further from the truth. We do care.
Well, that's some top-level material right there. Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! Plus, I wouldn't say that Dovetail don't care about what you want, they just don't care about you full stop. Unless it involves your money.
We wouldn't be here without you. We're always striving to do things better, and sometimes there are good reasons why we are unable to take every piece of feedback on board, but rest assured, we read your comments and take copious notes.
Now don't get me wrong, I do not expect any company of any size or any person or developer to take every single bit of criticism on board as soon as possible. Okay, I'm fine with that. But when it's something as simple as, making that the game runs mostly well on a good high-end computer, making sure that people are able to play the game without it crashing every single 12 minutes, or I don't know, having it use DirectX 11, or maybe rebindable controls? That's not too much to ask. We're not asking for the Earth, we're asking for a good, functioning video game. Oh, fun fact, MSTS has rebindable controls. Hell, Megaman 02 has rebindable controls, and that's on the freaking Game Boy Advance. There are no excuses. I repeat, no excuses. Hell, Megaman 02 has lens flare, so well done. I'm going to skip over number 3 because it's a legitimate point. I don't know what kind of person would spread that rumor, but maybe due to something related we'll be seeing later on. I don't know.
4. DTG will stop making DLC for TS2016 when the R4 version comes out. We're really excited about the R4 next generation train simulator, but we're also just as excited about TS2016. In fact, we have a long-term plan to make sure we continue to bring great content to everyone for the foreseeable future.
If upcoming routes that look like this are your idea of great content, dear Lord help us all, because everybody really wants, hey, I know, how about a 40-mile linear route with trains that we've already seen in this game 100 times over? That'll sell. Morons.
We reassure you're going to love what we have planned.
Well, if you're gonna fix the game, yes I will be, but other than that, no, I won't. I'm also going to skip over number 5, since it doesn't really apply to us, the people who play the game, not really making content for the game. They pretty much wrote that out just as a bit of a safety net for any devs who wish to make content on the game, and they're worried that their content will be broken by TS2016's eventual release. So I'm glad that they actually confirmed that. Although the closest thing I could really say to that is that even when I finish my route, and even if I had the chance, I will not sell it or cash off of it via Steam. I can't anyway because of copyright infringement and other things as well. And the fact that I don't want to in the first place anyway. But I might as well just say that to get it out of the way.
6. TS2016 is nothing more than a bunch of bug fixes. TS2016 will be the biggest train simulator ever and will include new features and game modes as well as a host of exclusive content you won't be able to get anywhere else.
Oh yeah, please keep overhyping this new game. It's really gonna benefit your customers and all the young kids who constantly play this game. It's really helpful, thank you very much. Also, that last bit about exclusive content you won't be able to get anywhere else. You really sound like Sony when they were at E3 this year.
Also, over the last few months we've been delivering updates and fixes to you so that we don't have to wait for the next train simulator release to give them to you. We'll continue to keep you posted on train simulator patches as they happen here on Engine Driver.
Okay, that's nice, but you still got quite a lot of things to fix, such as, the loading times are ridiculous, the fact that it still doesn't have DirectX 11 compatibility, it still uses DirectX 9, you still got other things to fix. Why make a new video game right now when you can instead fix up the old one so it's at least stable?
7. TS2016 will be a free upgrade as usual. In TS2016 we'll be including some really interesting new features, game modes and exclusive content.
Enough of the stalling, just give me a straight upfront answer. Will the upgrade to TS2016 be free, yes or no?
You'll need to buy TS2016 to get access to all of this, however.
Now, a lot of people on UK Train Sim are already defending this on the fact that all this new content that we'll have to pay for additionally will be the DLC, like trains and stuff like that. But if that is the case, Why are they hyping out and saying all this new content is DLC, basically? Day one DLC, to say the least. That's not good. At all. They also provided no evidence to tell me that this is exactly what's going to happen. My only conclusion is the fact that they somehow have a TARDIS locked up in their closets, and they went forward in time to the release date of TS2016. And if that was the case, NASA would like a word with you.
We'll be revealing the exclusive new content to feature in TS2016 over the next few weeks. We're certain you'll love what we have in store for you.
I doubt it. Even if you made one of my favourite trains of all time, the Class 172, and even if the sounds were spot on, and the run sounds were spot on, and it had a healthy amount of features that made the train enjoyable to drive, that still wouldn't excuse the fact that the game is really bad. Instead of constantly churning out DLC after DLC after DLC after new feature, how about you get the game to a stable enough level? That's a nice idea, isn't it?
8. TS2016 is the R4 registered trademark version. We're still working really hard on making the next generation R4 registered trademark based train simulator as exciting as possible. But it's not ready yet. Don't worry though, we'll be sharing the journey with you right here on Engine Driver. All of this means that TS2016 will be based on the same technology as Train Simulator 2015.
Oh dear, you've pretty much admitted that TS2016 will be, as near as makes no difference, exactly the same as TS2015. Well done, GG, no game of the year, 10 out of 10, 6 out of 5, thank you very much. The problems are fairly obvious. If what they're saying there is true, they basically want you to pay to upgrade to the exact same game, which is disgusting business practices and just overall deplorable. But then the community will just say, hey, it's gonna have their exclusive content that everyone really wants. But wait, I'm gonna have a guess and see what's gonna happen. Alright, here's what I think is gonna happen. They're going to introduce a Class 700, you know, the new train that's going to be running on the Thameslink lines. It's going to have crap sounds, it's going to have crap physics, it's going to just be a really rush job, and it's going to be a pre-order bonus for those who pre-order TS2016. But Daniel, you don't know what a Class 700 sounds like. But I do. They sound very similar to the electric Stadler GTWs, in terms of motors at least. I can prove this with this video here recorded by the Londonist Londonist. It's very hard to hear because they are talking, but they do sound like an EGTW, and I'll link a video of an EGTW in the description.
Oh. Whoa. I appear to be moving a train.
You know, regards to this game and the fact that they keep churning out a new version every year with the same technology and stuff like that, really reminds me of Redmond and Plutarch from the TF2 comics. And the fact that they're both using life support machines to extend their lives as far as possible, just so one of them outlives the other, and then they'll be able to take over the land. The difference is, Plutarch Man and Redmond Man are funny as hell. This game is far from funny, no matter how many crashing videos will tell you otherwise. On to the next point.
9. There will be no fixes for TS2015/TS2016 in the future. Ed, we're committed to making sure that whichever version of Train Simulator you own, we'll continue to address known issues for as long as it makes sense.
There is a glitch with the Class 375 and 377 Electrostar in the fact that the wheels on the MOSL will not turn for some odd reason. This glitch has been around for nearly 3 years and has still not been fixed. I'm guessing that this is not a high priority glitch because it's something that the player cannot see. That is my only conclusion from that. I'm not going to cover number 10 because we've covered one which is extremely similar to that already previously, so there's no point of going over that question again. And that's the full response to that top 10 myths of TS2016. Now, was it as bad as the Just Trains piracy page? In my opinion, no. Was it much better? No. I think the main problem with this page is that it's extremely vague. And the person writing this out was keeping his cards very close to his chest, to the point where he might as well stick them in his heart. I find it very hypocritical to look at vague myths and respond to them by providing very vague answers on your own right. It doesn't really help anybody. At the end of the article, there was this little red box right here, and if you click the link in there, you will be linked to a huge wall of text, which I'm obviously not going to read out for you. Go read it yourself if you're that desperate. The wall of text about acceptable use pretty much is a direct translation for you can say whatever you want as long as we agree with it. But yeah, that's pretty much the response. The good thing is that the new show is on YouTube, not on their engine driver forum website, so it doesn't fall under their terms of use and stuff like that. It also falls under fair use, so they can't remove this video, and if they do, I can get them done for perjury. I was very close to doing it before, nothing's going to stop me from doing it again. If that wasn't enough for you and you want to see natural selection at its finest, just go down and look at the comments of the article. Oh my god! My favourite comment is this one, mainly due to how much he's defending Train Sim in terms of the pricing, the lack of available content and stuff like that, and the fact we should be grateful overall. And I love at the end how he says, "Peace out, now get a life, stop reading text walls, and like my comment." Smiley face. Because yeah, that's really mature of you. Yeah, just well done. Now, logic dictates that I should end this episode right here, right now, because, you know, we're already at 16 minutes. But I won't, because I'm loving this new microphone, and we're going to talk about the workshop. Oh yeah, the Steam Workshop. For those of you who don't know, in general, the Steam Workshop is an online service that allows users to freely upload content to their said games. It can vary. Personally, the game that I use the Steam Workshop for the most is Gmod. However, workshop compatibility for Train Simulator was introduced when TS2014 came about, from what I remember. At the time of me making this video, there are over 9,000 items for you to download for Train Simulator 2015 off the workshop. I am not making that dead reference before anybody asks, but still, it shows that the workshop is somewhat popular around the community. Although the majority of the content available to download from the workshop are scenarios, I'm not going to bother critiquing scenarios. It's not really going to benefit me too much, and considering the fact that I don't really drive scenarios that often anyway. Instead, we're going to look at routes, because you're actually allowed to upload routes there, in any state you want. Yes, you can upload things that are work in progress onto the workshop. What's the problem in that? Well, you're gonna find out right now, because earlier on I downloaded a handful of workshop routes to try out and see which ones are good and which ones are absolutely terrible. I'll link all the routes that I review in this episode in the description, as well as a neat little Steam downloader that allows you to download them directly as the raw files and install them manually, which I prefer doing that. That's because it's just me. A rule that I will put here right now is that we're going to look at routes that are completely original, not modification. So if you're expecting to see something like this on the episode, well, enjoy waiting, let's just say that. Let's jump in and find out. And, oh, this isn't that bad. I'm just driving around it right now. It looks pretty neat. I like the detail. It's got some good non-linearity to it. It's not a huge route, but I could see somebody who has an interest, unlike me, for this kind of era. I could see them liking it. It's pretty neat. People in the Steam comments have reported issues with regards to the track work, and whilst I haven't encountered any yet, you might want to watch out for them if you decide to download this route. Overall, this is actually a pretty neat route. My only complaint, wish it was a bit longer, but other than that, I like it. I'd say this one is also in a very similar ballpark as the previous. It's not really my liking of era. I mean, take a look at the train I'm driving. And it's also way too short. It's actually shorter than the Glasgow Airport rail link, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not really my cup of tea, but it's not bad. It's not god-awful. I think the kindest thing I can say about City Lines is the fact that the route is boring. Very, very boring indeed. Just look at the map. Just looking at the map here, you can clearly see that the player hasn't got many options in where they can go. Even with that branch there, it still feels like a to B, B to A, B to A quickly, A to B quickly route. It feels linear. I'm not sure if the actual idea was to make this a network, but that would have been the most preferred thing to do, especially for a route that is based in the south of London. Yes, the route does look nice, and it does have a few things that I do like, especially this little underpass segment here. I do like how it looks. But at the end of the day, just because it looks good doesn't mean it is good. Some of the stations on the line do feel extremely barren, like this one here, and I think the last thing I can really say is that I'd rather that the route would be finished and extensions added onto it later, and then that's fine with me, than not finished and attempt to make extensions to it to make it finished, even though it hasn't received an update in a year. So from what I gather, this route is supposed to be some sort of French electric countryside branch line. So I do like the idea, although it's very short. It's about 9 kilometers long, I think, and it can be done in about half an hour. The reason why it takes so long is because the speed limit throughout the entire line is 40 kilometers an hour. Oh boy, isn't this gonna be fun? Especially with the eGTW that I have here, I can just put it in cruise control and relax. Oh yeah, this is fun. Alongside that, there are also manual junctions and unrendered junctions. This is a bad thing, especially for scenario creation, because the player would have to select the path themselves on the main line when it really should be only restricted to yard workings. It can also look very disorientating with the Z fighting there. It's really something that should have been noticed and fixed as soon as possible. For some arbitrary reason, there are also no signals on the line whatsoever. It actually got up to the point where I just gave up and entered the route editor and added some French signals here and there. I mean, I don't know too much about the French signalling system, and I'm not going to do the whole route just in the area I was driving. Still, could be worse. Okay, it seems that the route has just spawned me in the middle of nowhere. Why have you done this? Why? Now I have to go and find the route, god dang it! Alright, let's go find it.
12 seconds later.
Oh, look at this, it's a barren wasteland. Where is the scenery? Where is it? Has it been deleted by Zeus or something? I don't know. There's no scenery. Oh, sorry. There is a bit of scenery. There's a fence. A speed limit. Some signs. Get me out of here. That wasn't a typo in Sony Vegas. That is what it looks like on the menu. See? And the route itself really isn't much better. I mean, you got signals, you got 2 stations pretty much, and there's not much else you could do. I don't even want to drive a train on here. There's not even that much in terms of scenery. Moving on. You know, in Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Primal Groudon has this ability called Desolate Land, which perfectly describes this route. Well now, this looks different. I will at least say I do like the detail, but it falls under the same category as the first two, in the fact that they are nice routes to look at, although they are very short and it's just not really at my liking. I was never really a fan of American traction to begin with. So, sorry, but I can at least see somebody who has an interest, them liking this route.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck?
This is the last route that I'm going to look at today, because I'm starting to lose my sanity over this. I saved it for last, not because it's the worst, but because, at least to me, it's the most, disappointing. On the face of it, the route doesn't look that bad. I mean, looking at the detail, it's got some good detail, the track texture's really good. It uses the new catenary, which is, again, that's really nice of you. The signalling, for the most part, works alright. There are a few hiccups here or there, but I'll let those slide. Looking at the 2D map, the route does actually have a lot you can do. It's non-linear. It's not a network, but it's still non-linear, and it provides the player with loads of things to do. And it's got a mixture of both diesel and electric running. So what's the problem with the route? I'll show you! Take a good look at this. The majority of the stations on the route are just copied and pasted from existing routes. Or in some cases, they're just slightly modified to make sure that you don't clearly notice. I'm really struggling to see how anybody could call this creative. Just taking already existing station models and with the same station names, just placing them in different areas of the route, and then, okay, we'll just call this a route. I don't call that creative. No, sir. You can try and call me a hypocrite for the fact that my route uses real-life station names and stuff, but at least all the layouts on my route are original and have some inspiration, at least look like real stations. Whenever you do see a station that is completely original on this route, It looks completely uninspired and almost rushed to an extent. Even recording footage from this route was such a big deal. The more I drove on this route, the more I felt that this person could have been so much more creative, but clearly not. Phew! Well, that's all the workshop routes that I'm gonna look at. Now, I have a feeling a lot of people are gonna ask me, oh, what's your favourite workshop route? Well, personal preference leads me to the Pine and Warborough route, but I'm kind of worried that the minute I say that, people are going to get into this atrocious mindset where they will assume that my opinion is law, and they'll also assume that just because I don't like their route, that means their route is automatically bad. No, that's not how it works. If it worked like that, London and the Faversham would be terrible, and other routes would be terrible, which some people like, and as long as you provide a legit reason, I could at least see why you like those routes. I also don't want the community turning into a huge competitive mess about making routes, and saying, oh, my route's better than yours, such like a penis measuring contest. I mean, god dang it. Now, back to the workshop. Whilst I am completely open to the idea of having an online service that allows people to upload routes and scenarios to everybody else to show them off, I do not think it's acceptable for people to upload unfinished work-in-progress routes. Steam Early Access is already filled to the brim of unfinished games that... some of them are never even finished, they're just put up there, they're unfinished, and they still get to make money off it. Now, it's a completely different situation in a workshop. Nobody's making any money from the workshop content. Well, not anymore, thank God. But still, I feel like a few things should be changed on the workshop regards to train sim. Some form of curation, checking the routes before they go up online onto the workshop, and just the absolute prohibiting of any unfinished work-in-progress route completely would be at least a step forward, and will stop routes like this appearing up on the Steam Workshop page of Train Simulator 2015. I'm not sure how likely it is that they'll actually implement something like that, but still, it kind of depends on which way they want to take the workshop in the near future. Well, that's all I want to discuss today. This episode went much longer than I was actually expecting. It's actually nearly as long as the piracy episode. Now, if you excuse me, I've got to go and analyse the assets on this route, because it was actually released at the time I was recording this. Well, thank you very much for watching, and have a good day, and I'll speak to you next episode. Goodbye!